I'm excited today because I am going to be sharing with you some of our awesome Tupperware products. And so the featured product that I have to talk with you today is our master system. And this master system is literally something that I use in my kitchen all of the time. And oftentimes I will do a demonstration and I will show some of these products, but I typically don't do anything where I'm going to end up showing all of them. But that's exactly what's going to happen today. I'm going to absolutely show every single one of these pieces. So I want to just start off with the very first piece. And this is what the very first piece of it looks like. This is what we call a base. And you know that how the song goes, it's all about the base. And this base actually holds a number of different pieces. And so I'm going to show you all of those pieces today, what they do, and how they can really make your life so much simpler. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share I'm going to bring on another screen, and that's going to help you to be able to see my countertop where I'm using everything. There we go. So hopefully you can, I'm going to cut my head off there, but hopefully you can have a good opportunity to be able to see everything here. So let me kind of turn things down. There we go. So I hope you can see that. So this base, as you can see, has got a rubber gasket on the very bottom. And you want to use this on a solid surface countertop. The one thing that I have learned is it doesn't work, you know, if you're trying to do something on like a fold out table that's got like a textured surface to it. It actually doesn't stick well to that. But you're just going to place this down, and I want you to see what happens when you turn this little handle right here, just like that. It locks this into place. It's suctioned to there. I mean, this is really in there good. And so that is one of the nice things about this product is it really is nice and secure. So I just undid it so I could pick it up because you've got to add all of the attachments in before you do all of that. So what I'm going to do is we're going to make a couple of different things. I've got all my different attachments, and I want to just show you how easy it is to use this product. So the first thing we're going to use is our Spiralizer. All right. And it has a long handle here, and it also has these little sharp prongs. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slide it into the little top section here before I attach it to the countertop. So that's really important. And then I'm trying to decide how I want this to face. I think I'm going to face it straight on to you guys. And then I'm going to just twist it. And now that it's twisted, it is in place. Now with our Spiralizer, we have several different attachments that you can use. So the first one that I'm going to be using today is actually little skinny strips. So you've got that one. We also have another one that has got wider strips. So these are great if you're wanting to make like zucchini is what I'm going to do today. And then we also have another one where you can shave some really big pieces. I think you're going to really think that's cool. Okay. So what I'm going to do is use my skinny piece first. And I'm just going to put this in from the inside. Don't try to do it from the outside because it won't cook. You got to do it from the inside, and you just then snap it into place just like that. And then the next thing that we're going to do, we're going to take our zucchini, and I've already cut off the ends of the zucchini, but I'm going to cut this now into half because, to be honest, it won't fit if I do the whole thing. So, and then what you do is you place this into this section right here. And there's in the inside of these pieces, there is a sharp point. And that sharp point is designed to help you to be able to secure this. So I'm just going to press this just like that. And then I'm going to take my sharp piece on the back. I'm going to put it right in there, and I'm going to press it right into my zucchini. And I'm going to put my handle on, and it just screws right on. All right. Now, one more piece. There's a little piece right up here at the top. I got to turn it to the lock position so it starts doing its thing. All right, so now let me put my bowl underneath, and I want you to watch. This is the cool thing that I love about this. And when you do zucchini, you should always do it a little bit in advance because you want to get all the water out. So I'm just going to start churning this. Look how easy that is. And out comes all my zucchini noodles. Like, you can get your kids involved in this once you attach it with the sharp, because it's got all those sharp pieces, but you can let your kids help. And you can use this for zucchini, squash. You can even make apples out of it, make a really yummy dessert as well. Now, I'm getting to the end. So as soon as I get to the end, you're going to listen to it. I'm going to be real quiet for a second. I don't know if you heard that little noise, it kind of clicked. And what happened is it went off of lock position because it's completely done. And now I have all of my zucchini all done. And I'm gonna pull this back, and there's always a little piece left. And I never throw these away. I actually put these in a freezer container, and I save up all of my little pieces of vegetables that I have. And then when I want to make soup, I've got all of those. It's kind of cool to be able to add. So that's a pretty awesome thing. All right. So that is the first thing that you're able to do with that awesome, awesome product. I'm looking for one more thing that I want real quickly. Here we go. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to put in another one of the attachments. I kind of wanted to get a couple of ideas of all the different things that it does. So this time I'm going to put in the solid one that's going to make really big pieces. There we go. And I'm going to take and put a potato in here this time. I'm going to cut the ends off of it just so I have a flat piece. Same thing. I'm going to shove it into that little pokey thing right there. I'm going to shove this into the back. I'm going to lock it. All right. And what this is going to do is actually going to start making big shapes. But here's something that's kind of cool. Do you see that little point there right there? Okay, so watch this. I just stuck a little skewer in there. All right, are you ready? So now I'm making those potato ruffles. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? And I am going to be able, some of it's on there. I think some of it came off. I'm not sure why that happened, because usually I can just spread that right on. I think I've got too much of it on there. But for those of you that want to like fry these little babies up, oh my gosh, will you look at that? Isn't that the coolest thing? I'm just going to pull my dowel rod out because there we go. But how cool is that, right? So your kids will love that. You've got an air fryer, or you've got like a little Fry Daddy, you can do that as well. So that is how our spiralizer works. I love this. It's so much fun. Now, you know what? I'm going to be honest. A lot of the things that I'm doing, you can buy already pre-done, but let's be serious. If you want to save money on your grocery bill, you really need to do some of these things on your own. And once you have the right tools in your kitchen, like holy smokes, it's pretty amazing how much you can do. So I'm going to take off the spiralizer now. So again, I just undo that little part, and then I'm going to slide this off. Okay. Now, the next item that I'm going to share with you is one of our choppers and shredders. Whoa, just had an avalanche. All right. So this particular piece, I'm going to put inside of our cone piece, okay? And I'm going to use our large thing. You can actually use this for chopping nuts, which is what I'm about to do. You can also use it for grinding your own coffee. So this is really good for hard items. Slide this little guy on, and then I'm going to lock it into place. And I need to grab my top part so that I can use that, okay? All right, so I'm going to put in just a little bit of nuts, okay? So I've got some walnuts here. So if you've got to chop up some walnuts, this is really great. And I'm not going to do a whole bunch because I just kind of want to give you all an idea of how this works. So, all right. So this is what we call your food shover, because you don't want to stick your fingers down in that. And then look at that. Finely chopping those nuts for those different recipes that you're making. Isn't that the coolest thing ever? So how would you use this in your kitchen? You can use this, as I mentioned earlier, you can use it for grinding your own coffee beans as well. So this particular item is designed for you to use for coarse items. Okay. So now I want you to see what I'm going to do. I'm going to unlock it, and I'm going to slide it off, and then I'm just going to kind of tilt because there's always something that's still up inside of there. So I just kind of knock it out just like that. Okay, so now I've got my ground nuts. That, right? All right. Next, same thing. I'm just going to put a different blade in. So with this blade, Give me just a second. I need a sous chef over here. Huh?
Who's asked?
All right, I'm gonna rinse my little bucket out because it's a little nutty. And I don't want nuts in the next thing that I'm gonna be doing. All right. So next up, this is where, you know, when you're on live TV, you always see them, they have like multiples of them, but I only have one, so I don't have multiples that I can share with you today. Okay, so now I'm gonna slide this little guy back in, okay? And rinse off the food shovel because it's covered in dust. There we go. And this time I'm gonna put a different blade in. So this one's got like a long slice to it instead of the little stars that you saw a minute ago. And so I'm going to slide that in. I'm just going to put the handle on. So the handle is how you secure this. And then I'm going to turn this to lock it so that it's in place. There we go. And I am actually going to put a potato in this one. All right. Are you ready? That bowl's not going to be big enough for what I'm about to do. Let me switch bowls. There we go. Nope, I grabbed it. There we go. All right. So now, if you decided you wanted to make some home fries or some potato chips or anything like that, this is the one that's going to do it for you guys. This makes great au gratin potatoes. I want you to see how thin these are. Aren't those the coolest things ever? So now guess what? My potato is too fat. I should have put a smaller potato in. But I think you got a little bit of an idea of how this one is going to work. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the next item. And you're not even going to believe what I'm going to do next. It's pretty doggone cool. Take this blade out though. There we go. All right. So the next one that I'm going to use is a really super sharp one. And this one has also little sharp blades in it. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to do some ice with this. All right. Here we go. So locking it into place. There we go. And grab my handle. All right. So, you know, we're doing some Mexican food in just a little bit. So I want you to kind of picture how cool this would be if you wanted to make some margaritas. Yeah. Now this particular one, this blade is really, really sharp. It actually comes with a blade. So why we call it blade ice. You could make snow cone. You could make a frozen margarita. Look at that, you guys. Isn't that the coolest thing? It's like snow. Holy smoly. That is the coolest thing ever. So, all right. I want to put this back in the freezer because if I don't, guess what we're going to have? A puddle of water. Because we can make it with margaritas later. How's that?
Come on.
All right. Chris is all excited about that. We definitely got this attention on that. All right. Next thing that I'm going to do is we're going to take this particular blade out. And remember I said it was really, really sharp. And it actually comes with a blade cover. This one right here. Make sure you use it because it is really, really sharp. Okay, next up we're going to shred some cheese. That's what we're going to do. So, and we're going to use the cheese in our recipe that we're making today. So I'm going to use our thin or small little shredder because I like it finely shredded. And lock it into place. Here we are. Now I will tell you that it's ideally best to put your cheese in the freezer before you shred it. It actually does it better. Mine's been sitting out just a little bit because I wanted to get everything positioned as I was getting ready to cook for you. Okay, are you ready? So this is where you're going to save a ton of money, because if you buy your cheese already shredded, it is so much more expensive. I just went to Costco yesterday and I did a price comparison just so I would know for sure what I was saying to you all. And it is amazing the difference in your cheese that you buy already shredded, or if you just buy your blocks of cheese at Costco and shred it yourself. Now, if you want to shred a lot of it all at once in advance, that's okay. You can do that, and you can actually freeze it when it's shredded. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this off, and I'm just going to tilt it to get that last little bit. And I'm going to stick this right over here because we're going to use this in our recipe in just a few minutes. Okay. So we showed you the spiralizer, and we showed you the cone attachment with all the different blades already as well. All right, next thing that we're going to do, we're getting down to our recipe that we're going to be making, okay? And the next thing we're going to do is grind up all kinds of yummies. And I'm going to be using what's called the Fusion Master. I put this piece on it. I wanted you to see this. This is what you use. This can be used to make sausage. So if you have a hunter in your home, you're actually going to be able to make your own sausage links as well. So that's pretty cool. We're not making sausage links. So I'm going to unscrew this front part off, and I'm going to remove that attachment. And I'm going to put that back on. Here we go. And now I have the blade that's in there right now. Okay. And we're going to turn this like this, lock it into place, put our handle on, and we're ready to start shredding. All right. So a couple of things that we are going to do. We're going to use a half an onion in this recipe. And this is the Mexican recipe that I told you about. So we're going to use a half an onion. We're going to use 2 cloves of garlic. And we're also going to use a can of black beans. And I've already drained and rinsed these beans. That's really important that you do that for this recipe. So I'm going to actually just put in some of the beans. So tonight's recipe, this is a meatless dinner. So this is a great way to really save money on your food bill, is to make a meatless dinner. All right, so here we go. And all right. We're ready to start grinding. And as you can see, I want to turn my camera down so you can see really well. As we grind, we're grinding this. Now, again, one of the things you can do is find when like some of your beef is on sale, and you can buy an inexpensive cut of beef and you can grind your own and make your own ground beef. I've also made my own ground pork. You can make your own ground chicken and of course ground turkey. So it's a great way to save money on your food budget. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in, again, the other half of that. So it was a quarter of the onion each time because we're only using a half an onion. And then I'm going to add a little bit more of my beans. There we go. And time to turn the handle. For those of you that have kids or grandkids that you like to get into the kitchen, you can really let them help you with this. The blades are sharp. As long as you put the blades in, they can do a whole lot of this. And it really helps them to, you know, really learn more about cooking. I think it's so important to teach kids to fall in love with cooking and how to make healthy choices early. All right. So in the interest, what I'm going to do is just use my spatula. So there's actually going to be some that's up in the inside. So normally what I would do is I would take this apart and I would scoop out the part that's up on the inside as well. So I'll show you what I mean by that. In the interest of time, I'm actually not going to do it, but I'll show you what I mean. So you see right here? Let me take out this little piece. There we go. So I don't know, maybe I can get it fairly easily because we don't want to waste. There we go. Okay, now we've got the basis of our black bean burgers that we're going to be making. So now we just got to add a couple of ingredients. I'm going to pop this little guy off and get all of these attachments out of here. Alrighty. So I'm going to mix this up. Remember, this has got the garlic and it's got the onion and it's got the black beans. Okay. All right, a couple more things that we've got to add to it. We're going to add a tablespoon of Chipotle seasoning to this. Whoops. So this is a Tupperware recipe. You can actually buy it or you can use taco seasoning mixture, I guess, but I make my own. Saves a whole lot of money. So we'll add that tablespoon and stir that around. Next, we're going to add 1 egg, well beaten, and mix that around. That's going to make it a little bit runny, of course. It's going to be kind of liquidy. All right, so I want you to kind of see it's got a very loose consistency. Now we're going to add a cup of breadcrumbs, a cup of breadcrumbs. So whole cup. I'm going to put about half of it in first, and I'm going to stir it around. And then I'll add the other half in. Now that made that egg mixture that was really kind of runny, unrunny. All right, and the last little bit. Okay. Next up, whoops, it's splattering all over, is we're going to add a little of that cheese that we grated. So the recipe calls for a 1/2 cup of cheese. So I'm going to use my 1 cup. There we go. And just put about a 1/2 cup in there. I'll be using the rest of that cheese, well, not the rest, but some more of it to put like as a topper on the cheese, on the burgers as well. So you want to mix this one up pretty well because you want to make sure you get cheese in all of it. Alrighty. Now I'm using our silicone spatula, which is so awesome because it just cleans up this bowl perfectly. All right, and the last ingredient is a cup of frozen corn, thawed. So I actually have that pre-measured right here. And I always add that last. So, you know, I buy the big bags of corn and then I just separate it out into 1 cup measurements because this is like a family favorite. And so it works really well to do that and put it into the freezer containers. So whoops, we had a runaway piece of corn there. All right. And to be honest, the best way to mix this up at this point, just to make sure you got the corn completely in there, is by hand. So there's 2 ways you can cook this. One is to heat up a fry pan and do it that way. And the other one is to use our Micro Pro grill. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to put it in our Micro Pro grill, put it in the microwave because it's fast and it doesn't heat up the house. So I think we've got that thoroughly mixed up. Yum. And it smells so good with that Chipotle seasoning right now. You can smell that. Okay, so the Micro Pro grill. The Micro Pro grill is awesome. You can use this not only as a casserole to make any kind of casserole, but you can also use it for making sandwiches, paninis, hamburger. We did bacon in it the other day. We just need a couple scoops of bacon for a recipe. So we put 4 pieces of bacon in there. It was absolutely phenomenal. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna scoop these out. And I actually don't wanna make really big burgers because we are putting them on the little Hawaiian sweet rolls. So I'm gonna make my burgers small, but you could make them whatever size. So if you've got a bigger bun that you wanna make these in, you could do that as well, okay? So I'm gonna make these so that they fit. And I'm gonna make them a little square because the sweet rolls are kind of square too. And I'm just gonna do 4 of them at a time. We'll do the other ones a little bit later. So you can actually, if you want to, you can take this mixture and divide it up into 8s first, just to make sure you've got a pretty good division of things. I just kind of eyeball it with a tablespoon because I've made it quite a few times. So as I look at this, I know, oh, I got plenty left for the next burgers. So, and this is way more than we can eat because we're just a family of 2. And so what I end up doing is I cook them all. But once they're cooked, we just stick them in a vent and serve, and we stick them in the, you can put them in the refrigerator and then have them for lunch the next day, or you can also freeze them, and that way you can eat them when you're ready. So let me rinse off my hands so that I can actually put the cover on that. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this in the microwave for 6 minutes. Wow. Pretty simple, huh? So you're gonna just put this on so that that is pressing down on it. Into the microwave it's gonna go. Okay. All righty. And you can actually do 3 minutes on each side if you want to go that route too. That's you know, you can flip them over at that 3-minute mark too. All righty. So we will bring that back in just a minute to see the final. All right, so we have got our finished product. It's all plated. We put it on a Hawaiian sweet roll, and we've got a little corn salad to go with it. And just to make sure that everybody had a chance to see the finished product, just in case you missed out, let me take the cover off of this and show you our browned yum. 6 minutes is all it took to make those. That's pretty doggone amazing. Would y'all not agree?